monkey. You could go down. Monkey, look at these. Back to where you come from, you
You Chinese hole? Why you got them boots on, you slut?
Okay.
You Chinese.
I think it'll be pretty much like an Asian invasion.
Go back to China, understand that?
Home invasions and cars are stolen, and we just need to call it for what it is. Of course it's African gang violence.
Racism. Prejudice, discrimination, or antagonism directed at a person or people on the basis of their membership of a particular racial or ethnic group, typically one that is a minority or is marginalised.
We wanted to know what everyday Australians think about the controversial topic, does racism exist in Australia?
Do you think racism is real in Australia?
Yes.
What ways do you think it's real?
I come from the Aboriginal background, so I definitely notice how people are. They don't understand Aboriginal people, so they judge them.
Yep.
You know, same thing when you go to a shopping centre, the security thing, or people looking at you or disapproving. Just judgmental.
Yeah.
It is real still, 100%.
You think racism exists in Australia?
Yes.
I think that racism exists in Australia.
Yes.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah, it must do.
Yeah.
The way it is.
Fortunately, there are some people that don't think racism exists in Australia. Here's what they have to say.
So we were just speaking to a man who didn't want to be filmed. He stated that he thinks that racism is made up by politicians and essentially that it doesn't exist. He then also made a gesture to me and Chloe. He was like, oh, these two, which was interesting because he was talking to Paige only, but he pointed at us for whatever reason. I think you can figure it out. Yeah.
I don't think we're racist.
Is there a country in the world that exhibits less racism than Australia? You know, I think not.
A poll done by Sunrise Australia asking Australians if they think that Australia is a racist country shows that 66% of people think that Australia is racist and 34% think that Australia isn't racist.
Do you think racism exists in Australia?
Yeah, I think racism is a really big issue in Australian society today.
Why?
It's almost like I see it every day, like they're just offhanded comments about you, about your race, and it's almost normalized.
Have you ever been a victim of racism?
Yeah, I would say so. Definitely more towards casual racism. Like I have been called the N-word before, but most of my experiences come from like casual racism. Like, for example, I was out in like traditional Nigerian clothing with my dad, and this group of people were like laughing at us and pointing at us, which, you know. I've been followed around a store before. I've been told to speak English, even when I was speaking a different language with my dad, and yeah.
What is casual racism?
To me, casual racism is speech and rhetoric used in everyday language that normalizes racism in society.
Casual racism, by definition, is an offhanded remark or throwaway line that relies on negative stereotypes or prejudice to say something about a person's race or ethnicity.
Who do you think promotes racism?
I think people like Pauline Hanson.
I'm Indigenous. I was born here. I'm native to the land.
She's Indigenous.
I'm quite happy to remove this because this is not what should belong in this parliament.
Who go around spreading racist, Islamophobic, xenophobic propaganda and rhetoric.
Who do you think is the biggest victim of racism in Australia?
Within Australia, I definitely feel like it's Indigenous Australians. Like, for example, I've even seen on TikTok, an Indigenous person will post a TikTok just doing whatever they want, and you'll go to the comments and it will be like monkey emoji or orangutans in the comments. It's quite disgusting.
How has racism negatively affected you?
It's affected me because I felt embarrassed of my African heritage. I never wanted to dress up in traditional clothes. I never felt accepted by my primary school because it was predominantly white. And I always just wanted to be white when I was younger, which is quite sad. And being a biracial person, I never felt like I fit in with either black or white culture, because I was just in the middle.
How have you learned to overcome these experiences?
So basically I've just started embracing my culture. I don't really care what other people think of it or if they find it funny. I used to straighten my hair, and now I've stopped doing that, and I'm embracing my natural curls. And I used to do things like wear lighter foundation because I wanted to appear more light. But yeah, now I don't care anymore.
How do you think we can combat racism in society?
I think education is a big component in combating racism. And also you as teenagers in Australia, you should be able to educate your peers and stand up to racism when you see it.